Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome those of you joining us on LinkedIn. So excited. And everybody else watching too, whether you're on live now or you're watching later, drop it in the chat if you could. Tell us where you are joining us from. We're glad you're here. It's good to see you all. I'm excited for today's interview, this next episode of the Brokerhood. We have, man, a blockbuster of an interview for you today. Truly, we do. We're very proud of one of our newest consultants actually to the network. Deb Tandy is joining us to share her story and to celebrate some really big recent wins. She is a year into this consulting business, and man, the success that she's seen, the way that she's doing it, the way she carries herself, you're gonna love all of it. I can't wait to dive into all of it and more. And so stick with us through to the end as well. And we'll talk about some next things and what this could potentially look like for you, for those of you curious about starting your own consulting business, or your own business at all, and you think you could be good at consultations, consulting with others, guiding people, coaching people. This might be the right fit for you, but we'll get there. So let's dive in. Without further ado, welcome in the one and only Deb Tandy. Deb, welcome to the Brokerhood. You made it.
Hey, thanks, Jared. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. How you doing? How's your summer going so far?
Going great. We had a family vacation. It was awesome, super relaxing. It turns out I do my best work on a lounge in the Gulf of Mexico under an umbrella.
I love that. It's so good because I saw you at conference a couple, I guess it would have been almost 2 months ago, not quite 2 months ago. But since then, you're still crushing deals and doing it from the beach, huh?
From anywhere. That's one of the things I love the most about this business is I
Yeah.
can live anywhere. I can do it from anywhere. And people say all the time, I want to control my own schedule, but you
Yeah.
really can't.
Yeah. For real. What were you doing? What were you doing before franchise consulting where you weren't in control of your schedule?
So I had a long career in the automotive industry, scratched my way up the company ladder, wanted to be the president of Ford Motor Company.
Oh, yeah.
And after 9/11, I was the Ford account manager for North America for a supplier. And I got laid off because I was one of the few. It was a French company.
Yeah.
And I got laid off because I was one of the few Americans.
Mm.
And it hurt my feelings because I've never been laid off or let go in my life.
Yeah.
But, I'm a worker.
Hmm.
And it made me just rethink everything between 9/11 and getting laid off. And then my husband and I had a heart to heart and decided, you know what, I guess let's have a baby. Let's start a family.
Yeah.
And decided not to go back to work when I had my daughter. We moved from the Detroit area across the country to Houston, stayed home with my kids for about 8 years.
Hmm.
And it feels like every big career move I've had, I kind of fell into.
Yeah.
And I fell into a specialty retail toy store franchise. So,
Okay.
yeah. And like, I love people, I love toys, I
Yeah.
love kids. So it was perfect for me.
Yeah.
And we were longtime customers of another branch of that store,
Yeah.
another
Which
franchise.
probably not doing as well nowadays with how our, our current,
I bet it's rough. I mean,
yeah,
I has very close ties to the industry still, lots of lifelong friends. And yeah,
yeah,
it's changed a lot.
for sure.
But I did that for about 12 years. And
Mm.
I'm a person who's either all in or I'm
Mhm.
out. And I
Yep.
just kind of lost my passion for the business. So, that's when it's time to sell, leave them wanting more, go out on a high note. Um,
Yep.
and the lady who bought the store was thrilled. She did $1 million her first year. So win-win.
Yeah.
And I spent about 6 months just kind of decompressing. Retail is a lot. It's 24/7.
Yeah. Right.
And did a lot of volunteering. I've been super active in Rodeo Houston, which is scholarships for Texas high school students to college.
Okay.
And so I was really active in that.
Mm.
Did bookkeeping for a local animal rescue, did a lot of family things because I realized, like my children are slipping away. They're growing up. It's going to be
Right.
over so
Hmm.
fast.
Hmm.
And then about 6 months in, I was like, okay, what's next? And a good friend from my old franchise, Jeff, said, hey, here's what I've been doing for a few years. I think you'd love it. You'd be great at
Great.
it. And I was like, well, I'll take a phone call. because
Yep.
I feel like, when you get a knock at the door, you answer it. You just never know.
Right. Right.
And, talk to Gina and Brandon. I was a smitten kitten, and here we are.
So good. Was there, I mean, it's not always that simple though, too, right? Were there any,
No,
if you can think back to those initial conversations, which wasn't that long ago for you, right?
right.
Was there anything you were hesitant about before moving forward?
No, I mean, here's the thing. I wanted to take all of my corporate experience and business acumen,
Hmm.
and I worked in business planning, project and program management, marketing and sales, and material planning and logistics. So all of that corporate experience prepared me for franchise ownership, but then take all of that entrepreneurial experience and parlay that into something that helps people, because for
Mm.
my next act I wanted something that's going to have an impact. I scratched my way up the company ladder. I
Hmm.
made money. I'm not motivated by money now. I'm motivated by
Yeah.
impact.
Mm.
And so once
Wow.
I talked to everybody and really learned about it, it was a no-brainer for me. It was 100% yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Not motivated by, now it's the profit is clearly still there, but the opportunity to make profound impacts on people's life. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What does that mean to you in this business as a consultant to impact people's lives?
Well, here's the one thing I tell everybody I talk to is you don't know what you don't know. But
Yeah.
I have been where you are. I have been in the position where I bought a franchise. I didn't know I didn't have any retail experience, and I bought a
Yeah.
retail franchise.
Yep. And
But
that's
I
the
figured
beauty of
if they could do
franchising,
it,
right? Is it
yeah,
a
I
lot of
mean,
times you don't necessarily need experience in that industry.
right. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I learned owning a franchise. And mine was a
Mhm.
little bit different. There's a big difference. Some franchises are really hands-on, turnkey playbook. Mine
Yeah.
wasn't as much like that. There was a lot more, I don't know, freedom of choice.
Okay. Okay. You had a
So the
little more
great thing
autonomy.
for yeah, more autonomy.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Which,
it.
which you're right is rare in franchising.
Right.
There's different levels of that.
But,
Yep.
I was able to capitalize on all of my experience and
Hmm.
then apply everything I know to that industry. Like I knew
Yep.
marketing. I just had to learn my new target customer and market to
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
But there is one particular client that I worked with recently, and you know, when you start learning how to be a broker, they tell you don't get too personally invested.
Yeah.
I care a lot. I
Yeah.
care about the people I work with. I don't try to care. I just do.
Yep. It's natural for you. Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're not
yeah,
faking it.
I mean,
Hmm.
it was such an important part of my family's lives. Like my children were 4 and 8 when we opened the store, and they
Yeah.
were there for the build out. They were there for the grand opening.
Yeah.
They were in
Yeah.
the nationwide catalog for
Mhm.
140 stores for the
Oh,
Christmas
wow.
catalog the year after I
Cool.
opened.
That's
I
cool.
mean, how fun.
Yeah.
And my son, through school, like junior high, elementary, middle school, in the summer, he'd come and open boxes and sticker product and stock the
That's
back
awesome.
room,
Such
and
good
he loved
experiences
it.
for them. Yeah. Are
Yeah.
they experiencing what you're doing now at all as a consultant?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I would bet so my daughter she just graduated from Texas A&M, and she's heading to
Okay.
grad school. We move her in next weekend. It's crazy. But I think my son is probably going to get a business degree, and I
Okay.
bet we will buy him a franchise and he will be really successful.
Yeah.
Help him with some seed money to get started. But they see what I do
Hmm.
and just what a value the franchise model is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's huge. So let's talk a little bit about your first year then. Let's get to it. You're in this, you're a little over a year, like barely over a year into this, right? So talk about some of your recent wins. What has the first year been like? So can you maybe break it into two parts? What's the first 6 months been like for you? And then what have the last 6 months been like for you?
Sure. So the first 6 months, I mean, I came in, I've been a franchisee for 12 years.
Hmm.
I executed a successful exit strategy. I sold my business,
Hmm.
and I know franchising.
Hmm.
Well, I didn't know this side of franchising.
Okay.
So it was a lot to learn. And I'm Gen X, so we're used to learning new technology.
Yeah.
We've been doing it our whole
Right.
lives.
Yeah, for sure.
But, different email platform, learning a CRM, learning
Mhm.
all the brands, making contact with the reps and getting people to even want to talk to me, and
Yeah.
then lead generation and everything, everything, everything. You're drinking
Mhm.
from a fire hose. It's a lot and it's so much to take in. But one thing that there are a couple of things that I think were really great. I did Don Shin's franchise
Yeah.
training
Yeah.
and it was amazing. He gave us such a great foundation. He taught us how to understand what to do, how to do it, and when
Mm,
to do it,
mm,
and just understanding the whole process because I really didn't before that.
yeah.
And it was invaluable. And then
Mm,
having mentors within our organization that have been doing it for a while, a sounding board, somebody who's doing what you're doing and
mhm.
has been where you are is huge, which is why I'm great at
Right.
franchise consulting, right?
Mhm.
Because I've done it.
Yep. You've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I really do think I closed my first deal about 4 months in,
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
I had all of these things that came together early on. I mean, and for one reason or another, things went sideways. I had one candidate who was awarded a franchise, and that same, as she walked out of the hotel being awarded the franchise, she got a call that her mother in India had breast cancer. So she left the country for 7 months.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that didn't
Yeah.
close.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, I had a candidate who early on, I mean, this was like when I was just starting,
Yeah.
was buying an existing territory in a new territory. Well, then the franchise wasn't registered in California and it took 3 months. And by then
Oh,
he
yep.
went with
The
something
worst.
else.
Yep.
And,
Mhm.
just things like that. And
It
like just
happens.
one
That's part
soul
of the game.
crushing,
There's so many speed bumps like that all along the way.
yeah,
Yep.
just one soul crushing thing after another. And then I was
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Um, but
Okay.
here is the thing that I learned: learn the brands, learn everything about them, and build relationships with the franchise development people.
Yeah.
That is what has really helped make me successful in the last 6 months.
So do you feel like is that what you would say is what has led to you being able to do well over six figures in the previous 4 months? If I'm getting that right,
Yes,
it's you would say it's the well you say it's the relationships with the brands.
absolutely.
Mhm.
No matter what industry you're in, you're not selling anything. You're building
Okay.
relationships
Hmm.
with your peers, with customers, with suppliers or vendors or franchisors or whatever it is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're building a relationship.
Yeah.
And when you have that, so if you and I are working together and we're working with a client, we present a united front. We
Mhm.
understand each other. Like, you know me, I know you. We're
Mhm.
sending the same message. It's like when, mom and dad with your kids.
Yeah.
And if you don't know each other, how can you do that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's
And
so good.
I think learning to understand clients too and wanting to genuinely learn about them and understand
Okay.
what they want and why.
Mm.
Because if I don't know you, how can I help you get what you want?
Was that a shift for you? Like, did you didn't say year when you first started, first 4 months before you closed the deal? How has how you viewed and treated your clients changed in those first 12 months?
So much.
Yeah.
Instead of having like a script of questions that I ask, because at the beginning, uh, I learn by repetition. And so
Yeah,
I feel like if I have a set process, a set script, a set things that I say, it's easier for me to make sure I hit everything I want to hit.
for sure. Hmm.
Now it's so much more tailored. I'm so much better at it. If I had worked with I have one really great client, and if I had
Hmm.
worked with him 6 months earlier, I don't think I would have been able to help him like I did
Yeah,
because I just didn't get it.
yeah, yeah. Right. Six figures in 4 months. What has this success unlocked for you? Whether that's financially, whether that's personally, whether it's professionally, what has it unlocked for you?
Well, first and foremost, it's a confidence builder, right?
Come on. That's all right. Absolutely. Which then rolls into momentum further in
Yes.
your business. Absolutely.
And everyone everyone told me early on, like from the training and onward, they said, after you close your first deal, it gives you confidence and you build from there. And then you just have momentum. And when you build your pipeline and then your pipeline gets full, like when those things fell off at the beginning, for me, it was soul crushing. It was
Deflating.
heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move on, bless you, or
Yeah,
are you
sorry.
okay?
My
Okay.
apologies. Yeah, I'm good.
As you move on and your pipeline is full, like those things
Yeah,
don't matter.
yeah.
And then you're just closing deals. You're just closing deals. You're just closing deals because you have everybody through the process. And
Mhm.
now instead of focusing on that first contact with people, I'm focused on helping the people who are in process and helping them to understand the process, understand what's coming,
Yeah.
help them secure financial funding, help them get legal representation.
Mhm.
Like my focus is just a lot different and it's a lot more
Mhm.
tailored.
Yeah, that's so good. You mentioned, you came from franchising, but you didn't know this side of the franchise industry.
Right.
And then we got some people watching now too that have some franchising experience and have thought about, franchise consulting, starting their own consulting business, but are unfamiliar with this side of it. So what is something that has surprised you? What are some things that have surprised you about the business of franchise consulting?
That's a really good question. I don't know that anything has surprised me. Um, but like I said, just a learning curve.
Yeah.
Just being on the other side of the fence,
Hmm.
it just changes your viewpoint. You have different insight, you have different information.
Yeah.
And you know, just a different, I mean, yeah, just a different view. You're looking at a different window.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. And and I would say that's a big part of the power of the network and leveraging
Right.
the resources and the information provided within the network, right? What's one piece of advice you got for struggling brokers?
There's a few things. First and foremost, I would say be yourself, be
Mm.
genuine, because it shows through. A lot of people think that what we do, we're like used car salesmen, we're shady,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where that reputation comes from. But I had a client the other day who I talked to for the first time, and he and his business partner own a franchise currently. They bought it in 2020, interestingly
Hmm.
enough,
Yeah.
but they're back in the ring. And I said, "Did you use a broker last time?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, why aren't you using him again?" And he didn't say anything. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And the thing is, in
Bad
this
taste in his
business,
mouth.
yeah, all you have is your reputation.
Yeah.
So if you don't do what you do and you're not genuine and you don't have integrity,
Hmm.
all you have is your reputation. If you don't have
Yeah.
that, you're not going to do well. But the things I think that made me successful are consistency. Have you
Hmm.
ever read Atomic Habits?
I have not read all the way through it. I've read it like most books, where I read a majority of it and then I put it down and
Scan a
launch something
few
else.
of the end
Exactly.
of the
Exactly.
chapters.
But I
I
get the
highly
gist.
recommend it.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
It's really good. And,
Yeah.
when you repeat a certain behavior, it becomes habit, and then you
Yeah.
build on those habits and you have other habits.
Mhm.
And I think being consistent, um, get up one more time, keep going
Yeah.
because, you get knocked down a few times, it hurts your feelings.
Yeah.
Um, you give yourself, I mean, I give myself a mental pep talk, kick in the
Mm.
pants, you're
Yeah.
fine, push it down, you're okay.
Okay.
But or call a
So your
friend who's
mental self-talk is just decompress, to depress the the concerns, the fears, the doubts, right? Okay. All right.
you don't have any feelings, you're fine.
You don't
No,
feel
but really,
anything.
like, call a friend who's gonna build you up,
That's
you
good.
know, and keep going,
Yeah.
like a boxer, you
Yeah.
get knocked down a few times
Yeah.
in the ring. That last time you get up, you could come back and win.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's
Yeah, it's
usually
like
what you win.
burpees, the practicing burpees in the gym. It's like, hey, the point of the burpee is to teach you to get back up. You'll fall down again, get back up, keep going. I like that you mentioned
Yes.
call a friend, because something that is so valuable to brokers, that they in a mindset that is so deeply needed to be successful in this business, is to learn not to get your emotional needs met from franchise consulting, from the clients you're working with. So you need friends that you can call who they can meet those emotional needs, because you should not be getting it from this position. And because that's hard, because you do, especially you, Deb, don't you? You pour yourself into these candidates. And the whole idea of, hey, be yourself, be transparent, that requires you to emotionally invest into them in some way. But you cannot expect that to be reciprocated, because so many times you'll feel like you're just falling flat on your face. And you'll start taking things personally, and you feel like you're a failure and have all these lies getting into your head, where you can't allow that to control your mindset.
You can't. They're not your emotional sponge. You're their support. They're not your support.
That's right.
Like, whatever happens, I'm here to support the candidate. I mean, that's who I'm loyal to, is my candidate. Whatever happens, I'm loyal to them, and I support them however I can. And, I missed something I wanted to say when you talked about recent wins. And there is a guy I worked with who owned food and beverage franchises. He owned 4 during COVID. He lost 2 and had to sell 2 because the landlord demanded 4 months of rent for 4 locations, like today. And then he went to work for a company as a development director. And then he was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, man.
And he was divorced. And, all of these things happened. And then he came to me and we talked, we hit it off. And I always try to find some common ground with people too. There's always something that you can share that you relate to. Like maybe we both have kids that play lacrosse. Maybe they're an Ohio State alumni, like my husband.
It's
there's
a
always
way
something.
to express your humanity.
Yes. And again, being genuine, like I'm a mom, you're going to hear one of my kids yelling or a dog barking or whatever. I'll apologize, but like, this is my life and I expect you'll have it too. But this guy, all of us were pulling so hard for him. He actually converted gold for his franchise fee. I swear to you.
Whoa, that's crazy.
It's the craziest story. And
what was your thoughts of when you asked him, how do you plan on funding your business? And he's like,
and he said gold.
I'm a gold digger.
And I was like, are you serious right now? And one of the funny things was, I think listening is really important too, and hearing what the candidates don't tell you. That's one big thing I learned recently. And
what does that mean?
Anyway, you can ask me questions and I'll tell you certain things, but you need to read between the lines. And there are things that candidates won't tell you, but they'll tell the franchisor, or vice versa. So you have to read between the lines, because I'm telling you, even though I'm not telling you. And it's just like in life, when people tell you who they are, you should believe them. Because I put energy into people that I shouldn't have put energy into. They told me they really weren't in it, but I plugged along. But it was a learning experience for me, and it was good for me. So I'm not mad.
Okay, so bring it back to this guy.
Yeah, that's the guy with the gold. So he literally went and cashed in $80,000 in gold. And had a duffel bag of money under his bed. And every other day he would put $9,000 in the bank, because 10,000 triggers like a terrorism warning or something, or money laundering. I don't really know. But
can you not say those words on this live stream, please? No, I'm just teasing. You're good.
But literally, and we were all just pulling for him and doing everything we could. And the franchise was looking into whether he needed funding, whether they could do internal funding. Like, we just want this guy. Life has kicked him so many times. We want him to succeed. And he had talked to another broker before me, and he said, I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. Like, I feel like I know you. Which is just music to my ears. I want to connect with people on a personal level. But he said that other guy didn't listen to me at all. And the guy was showing him all these different things. He wanted a drywall business. So guess what we got him? A drywall business.
How hard is that?
I mean, read
Right.
between the lines and also just listen with your ears.
Just listen. That's so good. Tell
But
me,
yeah,
tell me, Deb, what about being a part of BAI? How has being a part of the BAI network impacted your business?
100%. I mean, I couldn't
Yeah.
do this without our
Mm,
network.
yeah.
First and foremost, the training, obviously, the
Yeah.
broker community. I am a firm believer that the people at the bottom are in competition, the people at the top collaborate. I'm a
Ooh,
collaborator,
I like that. Yeah.
and we have a really collaborative culture with
Mm,
a lot of the people that I come in contact with.
yeah.
Also, our back office, I don't have to worry if it's a good investment. BAI does that for me.
Mm,
I
yeah.
just have to meet the people, learn the culture. Because for me, what I specialize in is perfect fit franchise for a candidate.
Hmm.
Number one is company culture because if the culture doesn't match, it's like a marriage. It's never going to work out if you don't agree on money, religion, and politics. I mean, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But also, our Fran link is so strong.
Okay.
It's so
Yeah.
great.
So FranLink is those of you listen who haven't dove into this yet. That's our a proprietary platform that really kind of helps connect our entire network. Right. Everyone and everything is really kind of accessed and utilized within that platform. FranLink. Yeah.
Right. And, all of the contacts, all of the webinars that we have,
Mm,
all of the franchise development contacts, the client facing information. I think video really resonates with people a lot. So, day in the life of a franchise owner, like, what's it going to
right.
be? What's it
Yeah.
going to look like if I do
Mm,
this?
yeah. So that's helped you be able to feel like you're learning about all these brands adequately enough to speak into them, speak about them.
And
Yeah.
help the candidates understand, like, here's what you're getting into.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
I share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, my job isn't to talk you into or out of anything. My
Okay.
job is to present information, educate, and guide, and
Yeah.
ultimately, it's your decision.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I like that. That's a key difference between what you're doing and what I hear a lot of consultants doing is especially struggling consultants. It's this uh, rather than listening and then presenting to this candidate, this client based on who they are, what they're looking for, what they need. You're trying to convince them, you're trying to sell them that they should be interested in these kinds of concepts because whatever for whatever reason, either that person has a good relationship with that brand, they really want to sell with them, or there's a bigger commission at the end of the day with this brand, so they're trying to like coax this candidate into you really want to go in with this one. And what you just said there is such a key difference between what a lot of brokers try to do and what you who has found a lot of success in your very first year, what you are currently doing. I like that. That's good.
It's funny. The first time I talked to Brandon, he gave me a
Mhm.
piece of advice that stuck with me, and I say it to everyone.
Okay.
And Justin Livingston actually repeated it on a call
Yeah.
the other day, which I
Yeah.
love. So thanks, Brandon. He said, whatever you do, don't call anyone with commission breath. They can smell it.
Ah.
And I was like, huh.
Wow.
And you know what? I did from that day forward. And I swear this is true. I don't look at commissions because I don't want to be
Yeah.
influenced.
Yeah.
And like I don't care what it is. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, when you're doing business and you have a good pipeline and you treat people right and you do what you do with integrity,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I have always felt like if you do a good job and you do what you do with your heart in the right place,
Yep.
success and finances always come.
Yep.
The
So good.
financial always comes. It's not my concern.
Yeah. That's so good, Deb. Man, this has been awesome. I can't appreciate you enough for sharing your time, your clear wisdom in this space. It's infectious and it's exciting and genuinely I can't thank you enough for being a part of this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And friends, if you're listening to this right now and you're kind of like, man, I want to learn more. This sounds like something I'm intrigued by, and I think it could be a good fit. What I want you to do is click on the link in the chat right now. If you're over on LinkedIn right now, that's where this is. Click on that, or it should be in the comments details if you're watching this at a later date. Click on that, and that'll be where you will begin the process of discovering if you might be the right fit as a BAI franchise consultant, and if franchise consulting is the right fit for you. And so that's where we'll start the conversation. Click on that now. But while they're doing that, Deb, as we wrap up, can you tell us where can they find you if they want to get connected directly with you and maybe, contact you and utilize your services? Where can they connect with you?
Sure. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Deb Tandy, NBA CFC, or my email is deb@accessfc.com, or hit me up on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm easy to find.
Easy to find. That's how it should be, which I love. So
Right.
that's so good. Good deal. All right, friends. Thanks for joining us. Deb, thank you for joining us once again. This has been so good. Excited to see how this will impact so many others that have dreams and desires of wanting to start their own consulting business and have the freedom that comes with it that you've experienced. So it's genuinely one last time, thank you so much for being a part of it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you later.
Thanks.
Because at the end of the day, Business Alliance, it's not about us. This has nothing to do with Brandon Clifford, the CEO, or Gina Johnson, our president. What we really are is we're just a platform. We're here to allow brokers, brands, and suppliers to connect with one another, to elevate their business, to really encourage people to bet on themselves and become a business owner through the business model of franchising.